In this video, I'm going to show you how to design unique merchandise for your brand, including t-shirts, hoodies, keychains, and other materials. Merchandise represents an amazing opportunity for our audience to show that they are a fan or user of our brand. These touch points can benefit greatly from extra creativity, so we can make a unique design that's extra memorable. This video is an extension of the Building a Brand series, and I'm going to show you how I would design the merchandise for the Votech brand that we've been working with. So let's get to designing. So the first thing I've done here is I've created a document with artboards for each of our branded materials. I've made each artboard 2000 pixels by 2000 pixels. All that really matters here is that we have a vector to ship off to a printer in the future. So these don't need to be any exact sizes. We can work that out later. What we're trying to get right here is just the creative. I've also gone in and dropped in our instructions from our design document so that we don't have to keep hopping back and forth to reference it. So now that I have all of my artboards laid out, I'm going to go back to our previous documents and pull all of the different design elements that we're going to need to complete this. Now that we have all of our elements pulled in, I'm just going to work through artboard by artboard, following our instructions while using our past design pieces and coming up with new creative elements that we can work with. What I'm really trying to show you here is my process, how I work through these things, how I think about them, and hopefully this inspires you to design for your own brand. Alright, so it's been several days of designing these pieces, but I'm pretty happy with the finals that we came out with. So in the first line here, we have our 3 t-shirts. So the first one, this is pretty easy to pull off. I just grabbed one of the textures from a previous video. I'm going to use that as the shirt's texture, and I'm going to put this logo up in the corner like a little lapel. Now the next up, I wanted a fancier shirt that looked a bit non-traditional, so I filled the Votech logo with this pattern right here. I really liked how it turned out. It might be a little bit hard to see the Votech logo in here. That's my only thought. I kind of like the fact that you have to look at it for a bit until the logo comes out at you. Then we have the tagline really popping out here. Altogether, it looks like a nice art piece. In shirt number 3, I wanted to show off that Ravin H11 modular helmet. I used some techniques, brought in some of the patterns. I wanted it to look kind of like a very graphic approach. I didn't want it to just be the helmet. I wanted to sneak the logo in here somehow, more as a graphic piece than a logo piece. And then I went ahead and I dropped in the name of the helmet right below here. Next up, we have our 2 sweatshirts. So I really wanted to make sure, a lot of brands, what they'll do is they'll just copy their artwork from their t-shirts straight onto their sweatshirts, but I really like when there's some diversity and looks different. So what I did here is I developed this sweatshirt right here, which will have a Votech logo right up along the side. I picture this very big. We'll do mock-ups later to really show what this is going to look like. But that would be the big graphic running along the side, and then we'd have this Ride of a Lifetime, the tagline here resting kind of on the chest. On this next design, I wanted to go a bit more minimalist. So I forgot to mention this, but in a couple of these, I pulled the graphics from Adobe Stock. So in this one right above here, this t-shirt, and in this sweatshirt, I went to Adobe Stock and I found artwork that worked with the brand. But I didn't want it to be apparent that it was stock imagery. So I used these as a texture for the Votech logo here. And in this one, I think this is a motorcycle with some flowers around it. I masked that out, put it inside of the Votech word right here, and it has this strange look to it. You can still kind of make out some flower parts. You can make out the spokes of the wheel here, but it's obscured, and I kind of like that. So I'm pretty happy with this sweatshirt. Again, something I would wear, and I feel like it works well with the brand. Next up, we have the helmet patch. So this is a patch that would go onto a jacket. I looked at a lot of references on Adobe Stock of other patches. I didn't end up pulling anything for this one. This one was all illustrated. I did pull the helmet from a previous design that we've done in this back in the print. We've got the Ravin H11 title right here with the description below, and then we've got the tagline strewn across on this banner. If there's anything in this that I would work on a little bit more, it's probably the patch, just because it still feels a little bare to me. But you have to move on and get past these things, get them done. I'm pretty happy with it. I'm happy to move forward with it. Next up, very simple. This is the baseball cap. In this situation, especially with baseball caps, it's really going to come down to what the manufacturer is able to do. If they're able to do special stitching, the different fabrics that they're using along the sides. So I was going to keep this one pretty simple, just have the blue. I'll probably work in, depending on what the manufacturer provides, I'll try to work in that gold and the stitching along the side of the cap. And then when we visit this with the manufacturer, we'll add in some of the details that production can allow us to. Next up, we have our 2 stickers. This sticker right here was done entirely by me. You can see if you looked at the process of me doing this, I illustrated the 2 versions of the helmets, the side view and the front view. These were rendered based off of the 3D model of the helmet that I purchased. I then just went over that with a pen tool, traced it out, gave it some interesting lighting. This was a side view. I wanted to have 2 distinct views that showed off different parts of the helmet, and we can even pull these into the future and use them in different designs. This one was more simple. The next sticker is going to be more complex, so I wanted to have one that was really just the helmet, the V icon layered on top of each other. Something simple you could put on a piece of equipment, your bike. And here is the more complex sticker. So on this sticker, I wanted to play around with having a scene. I wanted this scenic motorcycle going on a drive through the desert. I had a very specific scene in mind, and thankfully someone had already done it on Adobe Stock. So it gets a little weird when you're pulling things from Adobe Stock. You don't want to pull something exactly and then make it just your merchandise and sell it. So I prefer to go through quite heavy manipulation on these. I replaced the bike. I put some dust in here. Even on the bike, I replaced this with our helmet. I then put our logo in the background and adjusted the color palette to be reflectant of our color palette, and then brought that all together as a sticker. Now lastly, the next 3 are pretty straightforward. This was our pen right here, so I just indicated right here that I'm going to want a dark blue pen with the simple logo right on top of it. Very much the same for the drawstring bag, except I indicated that I might want this texture if the manufacturer that we're working with has the ability to print this texture onto the bags. And the last 2 design elements here, we have the travel mug. So here I've just indicated that I'd like that travel mug to be our off tan background color with just the logo here. And this one is the most different of the pieces that we've made right here because this is going to be a keychain. So The keychains are going to have to be cut or shaped out of a block of metal. They're gonna have to be massively produced that way. So what I've done here is I've made a vector clearly defining all of the points that a machine might need to know to cut out this first layer of metal. So here you can see when I pull it aside, this would be the first cut right here where we have the Votech name pulled out. And then on the bottom here, we have the recessed piece of metal. I feel like this is a pretty valuable touch point. We could send this out to customers, influencers, just give them something with the brand, something they can feel. I mean, that's really important, especially in an online age when we're selling a lot of our merchandise. Giving people something they can feel and tangibly interact with, it just adds another level to the brand, and it incorporates more of the senses. It makes it more of an experience the more senses that you have. So giving us something that we can feel, that little recess, and get used to the logo, not only visually, but also by touch. And that's it for this video. This took several days to work through, and really that's realistic to the process. You're not really gonna be able to knock all these things out in an hour, so be patient with yourself. Give yourself time to come up with some of these ideas and revisit them a couple days later. If you'd like to see more of those videos, please subscribe to the channel and I'll be posting more of them. Thank you so much for watching this video. I really appreciate it. I hope to see you in the next one.